Gentlemen, welcome back to another presentation of the IndyCar Speedway League. Here from the world-famous Watkins, Glen for some action in the Pro Mazda cars here. We'd like to remind everybody tonight that our races are presented by robertstechjobs.com. For any IT professionals in the Midwest, please go to roberttechjobs.com. Tell them the ISL sent you. I'd also like to thank David Llewellyn and DHL Express for everything he's done for the league and all of his financial support. We'd also like to thank Tyler Graff and MGD Designs, provided some really nice designs for both the Justin Wilson Memorial and the help me out, what was the other one? Dan Weldon Memorial.
Yeah, there you go.
The Dan Weldon Memorial. I shouldn't be forgetting those. I'd also like to, of course, thank Terry Adams for everything he's done with the league with the setup sessions, Hanover Fist Racing. This league right here is the brainchild of Terry Adams, and this is one of his favorite car and track combos to drive, so I'm sure he's looking forward to turning some laps here. Going to early going, you can see the real-world experience of Scott Dick really start coming into play. Scott Dick has raced the Indy Lights numerous times here, and I know he's raced Watkins Glen personally for a good amount of time, and he's showing it being nearly a second and really about a half faster than the rest of the field. Mike Whitaker, also one of the veteran drivers of the league, coming right in. Mark Vega, typically in the booth, seems to be having a good showing in that pink Hello Kitty car. Kevin Paskowich coming in for fourth, and Tony Trapasso, normally the voice of the ISL, good for fifth right now. Small field, about 15 cars in there right now. Not really getting the veterans, the newcomers as we were expecting for this race. That's okay. I'm sure the old guard would love to show what they can do in this car here. The only newer name in the field is Jose Olivas, who I believe has actually just earned his probationary status in the league and is coming on with some practice sessions and all that, hoping to make his debut. He'll be eligible to race, I believe, at Auto Club next week, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so that kind of probationary. Okay. I'm going to be honest, you kind of confused me on that one.
Yeah, the way the competition committee decided to invite people into the league is after they run 3 of the races here, or if they just catch our eye before then, we'll start allowing them to run the practice races, the setup sessions and all that, provide their input, see how we do things. They'll be eligible to go into the booth, as you saw with Martin Miller, and I believe another driver took him up on that offer to see how the back end of things function. And then after they've ran their third race, they'll be permitted to join the league for their first race. And assuming that they do all right there, you know, they're safe driving, they're not a threat to anybody else, then they will be permitted to go on from there. Newcomer coming in here, Jonathan Goke. One of the newer names to the league, but definitely not a newer name to iRacing. He's gonna be he's a big name here, and I think he's gonna be having some fun.
Gonna be honest, I'm surprised he's showing back up after that Pocono race.
I mean, I talked to him beforehand, and he just admitted he couldn't stay. You know, Watkins Glen, there's not going to be any cautions. I'm going to be very restrictive on if I throw them, and basically my requirement of throwing a caution is the track is blocked and there's a good pack of cars coming, and that yellow flag isn't going to be sufficient. A lot of these drivers been racing dirt the last couple days, and I can't help but notice they're still trying to slide this car a little bit.
Yeah, just a tad bit. I think it's a downside to them releasing the dirt right before we have, just a couple, the day before we have this race.
Well, I'm taking a really special interest in dirt, especially after last night. I'm by no means good at it, but I feel once I get the hang of it, it will make you a better driver. You know, look at all the legendary names that got their start on dirt. The Dale Earnhardt.
I'll give you the draft.
Kyle Larson was a known dirt racer, and he dominated last weekend.
Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart, owner of Eldora, where we ran a good amount of races last week.
He owns quite a few of them, actually.
I lost it, Mike.
Yeah, but I think he sees Eldora as his flag child here.
Oh yeah, that was the first one that he purchased, I believe.
Glad to see Richard Sudduth back with us. Drivers seem to be in a pretty good mood as of late. A lot of compliments, a lot of fun. I think they're all just looking forward to having some laid-back non-points racing as we get to the midweek of this season. And I mean, I believe it's going to be next week we start the season at Charlotte.
Yeah, it'll be April 4th, 5th. I can't keep track.
4th. It's the 4th, and that's going to be at Charlotte, which is a lot of fun to drive in this car. Basically, Charlotte is equivalent to Daytona or Talladega. It's going to be the super speedway that we start the season with.
The 6th.
Jonathan Gope just blew his engine there on that turn.
It's the 6th. The 4th is when we run the Aero 5s at Auto Club.
You're correct. I got my dates mixed up.
Yeah, I did too. It's kind of hard to keep track of them right now.
Yeah. When we run 3 series.
For me, it's when you work 6 days a week.
Yeah, very true there. Had a pretty interesting day of work myself. It was our busiest sales day of the year, and of course, right when things really start to get rolling, people getting in the door, we start getting that money in. The power goes out and remains out for 5 hours with us on backup power with no computers or anything to sell it. Just barely enough lights to keep people in the building. So that was a pretty interesting day.
I remember that happening at Kmart when I worked there. They're closing this summer. I think it was like my second week there. We had no power.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun at all.
Nah, we had fun with it. We hadn't even opened yet.
Well, hard to open when you can't open the doors. Richard Sudduth with a new fast time. I believe that had something to do with him drafting behind Mike Whitaker.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like a new top spot. Like, he's not faster than Scott Dick yet.
Scott Dick, I think, is going to be the man to beat. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jonathan Goke gave him a ran for his money here.
Yeah, sitting there spectating Scott Dick a bit. Whoa, Goke a little loose there. He's having a little bit of trouble controlling it. No, Scott Dick, I was spectating him for a bit on the stream and on the broadcast, and had a little ticker up for from ATVO where it was showing his previous time and his best time, and he was running almost consistently 143s.
I actually like ATVO's default theme.
Yeah, the logo's a little bit annoying, but yeah, overall, I mean, I wish I could change the speedometer to be in miles per hour.
That's what it is. I mean, especially with the road racers, it was.
It's made by a European group. I think it's made by some Germans.
Scott Dick and Terry Adams, two of the best, the self-proclaimed roadies of the league. I think they're having some fun being with each other right here. Who's that in front of them?
Oh, that's a whole chain of them. They've got Mark Vega behind them as well.
Yeah.
Now, what's the number on the wing there of who they're passing?
That's what I respect about road course drivers is they take these turns so tight and just, coming from a primarily oval background, especially an asphalt background. I got started in cars that I think kind of really hindered my development.
Yeah, we both started with the heavy top cars, and it does hurt you a little bit. Look at Scott Dick just pulling away from them once he clears them. We have 1 minute left in the practice session. 1 minute.
I think it's going to be a pretty interesting race here. One of the things people seem to be worried about with the Pro Mazda is when they go through turn 1 and they start downshifting, how easy it is to just blow the transmission out of this car.
I actually haven't seen a lot of people doing that. I think that might just be Goke because he's not used to the car just yet. He was the first one that I've seen do it. Granted, I've mostly been watching Terry, so that might be the reason why.
Russ Addy, the Australian, I believe he won the Road Course Classic in the DW12s, I want to say. It was either the 12s or the 11s he won for his first win, and that was a really exciting finish. Came to a competition committee decision. A lot of contact between him and, I believe, Isaiah Dupree.
Oh, the Monza race, yeah, I wouldn't have a record of that.
That was a lot of fun there. Russ Addies definitely has his background in the road course, but he's really expressed an interest in learning the ovals.
And there's the end of the practice session. We will be going to the qualifying now. Let's see how this one turns out.
I'm going to go ahead and say this race is sponsored by Coca-Cola because I'm going to go drink one.
And I'm drinking Pepsi. A nice overview of the track they just had there.
No times left on the board here as we go ahead and go
Really?
1 minute in. Usually looks like the average time is about a minute 45, so
we're still about another 2 minutes out.
Probably have a pretty short pre-race announcement because it looks like Terry forgot to set it for 15 minutes. 50 laps here, which is really about a fuel run with this car.
I thought it was 30 minutes. Not 50 laps. I thought it was 30 minutes. I thought it was 30 minutes, not 50 laps.
No, Terry, obviously this is his league, and he said he wanted to run 50 laps as opposed to a time limit, and I was inclined to let him.
Alright. Well, hopefully it doesn't go too long then. Well, that's going to be close to an hour. Actually, that's going to be more than an hour.
I don't think so. I think we'll be alright.
50 laps at a minute 45. That's over an hour.
We'll see what happens here.
Probably just shy of an hour and a half.
Never really get a chance to look at, but Watkins Glen really has some beautiful scenery around it.
I'm just wondering how much of it is the actual scenery at Watkins Glen. Inside the track I know is, but it's the outside of the track that always seems to look so generic.
I think they do a pretty decent job, with tracks like Phoenix and stuff like that. I don't know about here, though. I'm sure they got the main buildings down. I mean, there's a lot of stuff iRacing needs to update. The trees are still there at Pocono, which make me dizzy every time I look at them on those straightaways going 230 miles an hour.
The backstretch at Martinsville is actually sponsor spaces instead of bleachers.
Speaking of Martinsville, I'm still not sure if I'm going to bother going or not this weekend, if I'm going to sell the tickets I got.
Still no times when we are 3.5 minutes in.
They're thinking about it.
I guess they're just now going to be rolling in, probably.
Yeah, it should be any minute now, unless they all elected to defer, which wouldn't surprise me.
I think a few of them will do it.
There's your quick time. 1:45, 1:21 from Jonathan Goat. Pretty good time.
Yeah, didn't see him do a whole lot.
There you go. Mark Vega coming in second as they run another lap here. Really takes about 2 minutes, so I think a lot of them were waiting. A lot of guys had some tricks to burn off fuel. There's your times going in. Scott Dick with a quick time, just oh, almost a second faster than Jonathan Gope. Like I said, if anybody knows Watkins Glen, it's Scott Dick. One of the old guard of the league. I believe he first debuted with us 3 or 4 races into season 1 in the IRO5s, and he's been coming in off and on ever since. Always a pleasure to have him in.
Anybody who started with us last season are considered old dogs, pretty much right now, or the old guard, as you were putting it.
Correct. Truly fair. There's nothing really old about it. This league started in what, September?
Started September. I think the first race was the last week of September. I had been in iRacing for not even a month.
Going on 7 months now. Time flies, don't it?
Yep.
Learned a lot from this league. At times it's tested my patience to the absolute limit, but I wouldn't have it any other way. When these guys are on point and they're all having fun and laughing, there's not a better group in iRacing.
Well, the frustration here in the league is a lot different than the frustration in the NIS.
Correct. There's frustration to me is a natural part of racing. You know, everybody's gonna see things a little bit differently when points on the line. You have such a hyper competitive group. You take the highs and the lows from each season. The highs so far for me this season is probably Joe Morganti getting his first win just because of his reaction. I'd probably throw Kevin Paskowicz's win last week at Pocono in there too.
Every time Joe Morganti's won, you finish second.
Yeah, I was not going to bring that up. Don't remind me.
You've been the pusher to him. You're the one that pushed him to the win.
Yeah. I pushed him harder than any other car I've ever had at Pocono, and I was gonna get him. And it seems every time I get a run and I'm just right there to get the lead, caution with 2 laps left. I hope iRacing adds green white checkers here soon.
At the very
dirt out of the way, so let's start looking at some green white checkers iRacing.
At the very least, probably have like if the caution comes out with less than 10 laps to go, have a little choice for hosted races, so that you can say with less than X amount of laps left, caution flag laps do not count towards the race.
Well, they need to add that anyway for dirt, because under dirt racing, caution laps don't count.
Yeah. Now, the one downside to the ATVO is the little ticker I have on the side that's showing all the times as everybody finishes their laps has the first initial and then the first 2 letters of the last name, which makes no sense to me.
I think that's some weird format. I think European racing leagues do.
I think it's something to do with Formula One, to be honest, because that's what it is. It's for Formula One.
Oh, this is close to it. This car is actually the entry-level car for Formula One.
I thought it was supposed to, I thought they said it was the entry level for the Indies. Looks like the Formula One. Yeah,
there's a lot of names that have come up that have ran it that have success. It's the entry-level car
for open wheel.
Yeah, correct.
You gonna go ahead and do your
yeah, I'm waiting for 8 minutes exactly here.
All right. Well, I'm not going to have it unmuted, so I'm going to have it unmuted so that you'll hear the race meetings. So we'll just be sitting here for a couple minutes here, and be interesting to see what happens. Let's do this. Yeah, I don't know why that is, Mark. My OBS always has the volume really low. I have everybody turned up as loud as I can get it. Let me see if I can modify it a little bit more. Yeah, we're up as loud as I can make it. It won't go up any higher.
Apparently the stream is low.
Yeah, I saw that. I have us up as loud as it'll go, though. It's something with my OBS. For some reason, the audio is always... oh, wait, well... no, that's not it. I don't know what it is. Well, let's go over our starting order here for the race. We have Scott Dick and Jonathan Goke on the front row. Then Mark Vega and Michael Whitaker in row 2. Kevin Paskowicz and Russ Addy are in row 3. Sam Cooper Bennett and then Sean... is it Messier or Messier?
Messier.
Okay. On the row 4, Jose Alves and Tony Trapasso in row 5. Richard Suddeth and Johnny Antonucci in row 6. Henry Fist, also known as Terry Adams, on the inside of Dominic Byrne for row 7. And then Michael Baker alone by himself in row 8, since you would ignore myself and Alex on the grid there.
Scott Dick going to lead him to the pole here. Jonathan Goke opting not to run here. That's going to move Mike Whitaker up to second. So it looks like, I believe it's a standing start this time. Should be going green any minute. Oh, revving their engines, getting ready. Green flag is out. Looks like everybody's going to give each other some room here. Mark Vega going to lead the field into turn 1, off in the danger point. One car loses it in the grass. It looks like I don't think he hit anybody. Scott Dick, Mike Whitaker coming through.
Yep, Scott Dick just now pulling off the pits, and whoever he's passing right now has some wing damage.
Suck up on that car by Kevin Paskowicz. They're side by side. That's not going to work in the boot. Mark Vega.
He makes it work.
Backs out of it. But that's the thing that I love about the Pro Mazdas. They have so much suck up to them. The draft is unreal. Excellent pass by the 3 as they come through the carousel. And Vega is running away with it.
Well, he has some time before we have Scott Dick catch up. And he is a-coming.
Vega is okay, or they won't let me go to my relative.
Oh, and they're wrecking. KP and I can't see who the other one is. Looks like it might be Richard Suddeth. I can't tell. Oh no, that was Sean Messier.
Yeah, he apologized for it. I don't think they hurt it too bad, did they?
No, they got a little bit of damage there.
Vega is running away from the field right now, just where he wants to be. Tony Trapasso in second, using the draft from Russ Addy, Johnny Antonucci right behind him. They're trying to catch up to Mark Vega. It's crazy how far ahead Mark Vega is. I cannot talk today. I didn't know Mark was this good at road course racing. Most interesting battle on the track in my mind is the battle for third right now in this pack of cars. Johnny Antonucci got inside Russ Addy, but he can't get enough speed to make the pass here. Richard Suddeth coming through, getting through the lap traffic. He's going to get by Mike Whitaker. Russ Addy working with Tony Trapasso, and Mark Vega still just pulling away. One thing about road course racing, it's so hard to find a good camera angle to watch it from.
Oh, I have a camera pack that has some pretty good angles, actually.
Yeah, I think I'm probably using the same one you are. Only car following a lap down right now is Sean Macier, who did, I believe, park it from the race. How far ahead is Mark Vega right now?
Numbers I'm seeing are just a little over 3 seconds.
That is crazy. Quite a battle going on for second, though. If they work together here, they'll catch him in the straightaway, but they gotta be better in that boot. That's where he's making all the difference.
Well, Tony and them also had to fight through all the cars spinning. Mark Vega was in front of all of that.
Very true. Michael Baker and Michael Whitaker showing a lap down now.
It has turned into a race of attrition, and we're only 3.5 laps in.
Well, you had the one spin. That's going to happen anywhere.
I think we had a few, actually. Because not all of them were involved in just those 2 spins, the one in turn 1 and then the one in the boot. It wasn't just those 2 spins. Or at least there wasn't enough people in those.
Everybody's staying patient right now, that's for sure. Tony, if he can catch him, he's going to challenge Mark Vega happily.
He's actually losing him ever so slightly. Last lap he was quicker by 7/10, but overall he's actually been losing ground.
That clean air makes a difference, that much is for sure.
Well, he has clean air right now. He can see Mark Vega still, at least, so there's that. The advantage to a road course, the slower you're going, the closer you are together in feet.
Scott Dick trying to get up into the herd there. I mean, he was the top qualifier, but so far, nothing has come of it, opting to start in the pits instead. Here we go through turn 1 for lap 5.
Actually, he's. Yeah, I'm sorry, I zoned out. You did say Scott Dick, right?
Yeah.
He's up to 5th.
There we go.
Yeah, he's actually gained a lot of ground. And he's only a second and 3/4.
Oh, trouble. Who just gunned? Sam Cooper Bennett just lost it in front of Terry Adams. Didn't collect them, but it looks like Sam's going to be all right, too.
Oh! And we have Russ Addy and Tony Trapasso getting together, and you know Tony's not going to be happy about that one.
Looks like he's all right. Oh, no. Looks like he's going to tow it. Oh.
There's definitely some wing damage on Russ Addy's car, though.
I'm watching that one again. Looks like they were going through the boot. Yeah, and Russ Addy just banged him. Mark Vega coming up to lap Sam Cooper Bennett. That wreck is
Yeah, you might want to mute that.
sorry.
I didn't know you had the sound on, or I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, it's alright.
Well, at least it's getting a little bit more heated.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Should be about one fuel run.
Do you know how long these can go on fuel?
I don't.
Do you mind asking in the chat so we can get an idea? Oh, by the way, Scott Dick just took second.
Yep. 45, 44 laps on a fuel run, so they will have to stop once. That was a estimate from Terry Adams, who made the setup.
It makes almost all of our setups.
Fighting for... Oh, sorry, I'm still on replay.
I was too, it seemed. Not by much, but I was.
Kevin Paskowicz opting to bow out here. I think if anybody has a chance of catching Mark Vega, it's got to be Scott Dick.
Well, he's closed it into 4.3 seconds the last I saw.
Trouble between Jose Olivas, the 87, and Dominic Byrne, the 86.
Are you not on live anymore?
No, I was. I just heard Dom apologize, or
Oh.
87 apologize.
Yeah, because I went to switch to him and he was running clean,
Yeah,
so I was kind of confused.
I think they just wheel banged or something. I couldn't find any notable incident.
Well, I guess while we're live, I should go ahead and say something that I mentioned to you earlier today. Monday nights now, if the points are updated as we like during our practice session for the Tuesday night IRO5s, we will be doing myself and whoever else is present and willing to do it. We'll be doing just a basic overview of what happened in the 3 races for that week. The results, top 5, how the cars felt for some of the drivers if they were in them. And the points, which is the important part. Any new winners, who's currently in the hunt for the chase / playoffs, whatever you want to call them, and anything else we can think of for that hour-long practice session.
Points definitely starting to come into play as we reach the mid-season points. I believe there's only about 9 races left, and and looks like everybody who won so far is still locked in the chase, but there's still plenty of time for new winners.
Homestead was race 11, so halfway through Homestead was the midway point of the season for the IRO5s, and then halfway through the race, which would be lap 68 with 67 completed, on Sunday will be the halfway point of the DW12 season.
I think it goes without saying that the favorites in the IRO5s right now has got to be Chris Parkman. 3 wins already on the season.
Homestead was number 4. Homestead was number 4, by the way.
Oh, was it 4? All right, so 4 wins for Chris Parkman on the season.
That's why we might have to get a sign saying reserved for Chris Parkman for Victory Lane.
Well, that's the thing, that's the beauty of the chase. If this was old regular style racing rules, yeah, Chris Parkman would basically already be the champion by now. Actually, no, he wouldn't, because Tyler Graff was still the points leader in the IRO5s, if I recall.
Entering Homestead, Tyler Graff was the points leader over Whitaker in second by 13 and Chris Parkman by 14 points.
Graff does not have a win either in the IRO5s, which is definitely interesting. I think that's what's going to be cool about running 2 series. We're going to have 2 completely different chases and 2 2 just completely different stories going into it. The guys are already pushing for a regular dirt kind of dirt becoming a regular thing that we race, and we'll definitely be looking at that. I'm not considering a series or anything for it. I can't really dedicate another day for it, but we'll definitely look at that too.
Well,
I saw your idea of alternating.
Yeah, because on Fridays it's just for fun anyway, so alternate every week, because I know some people like the Xfinity car and some would like the dirt, so let everybody get a taste. Maybe run them both one night. That might cause some confusion though, especially if the Xfinity car is at Atlanta where it's already sliding around.
Terry Adams just got lapped. So did the 26 of Scott. Oh no, that's Scott Dick. That's Scott Dick. Still, he actually caught him.
Yeah, I was waiting to see if you would notice or not, and he is now passing him.
No, he doesn't. It's a drag race.
Ah, he'll get it.
Now, momentum in the turn here, that's going to play the biggest part.
Well, the thing is, going down here into the bus stop, what's the first turn? Going right, and he backs out. I think he's waiting for the right time to make the pass. Scott Dick is a road racer.
Things just got interesting. Mark Vega, was one of the bigger names in the league as we when he first came to join with us, and he's been extremely beneficial with race control. He can also turn some dirt too. Don't let him tell you otherwise.
I just want to point out, last time at the line, Scott Dick ran a 143.67. Mark Vega ran a 145.40. That's how much
close.
quicker he was. It's almost a second and a half.
Scott Dick is going at him again, trying to use the draft to get a run. I don't know if Mark Vega has a bad turn on this track anymore.
But he just doesn't have the speed like Scott Dick does. That's the problem. He needs to find that speed that Scott has. Into the final turn. Scott Dick to the outside. Mark Vega's going down pit road.
Go ahead and pit and try to short pit here.
And then go to the end and have to deal with a light car at the end, which means a faster car ultimately too. That's always his strategy when we race the Xfinity Fun Series. He always does it. Yeah, he plans backwards. And it always means he's off sequence, which he likes. He likes being off sequence.
Being off sequence can hurt you or help you. It just all depends. Here, I think being off sequence is probably going to be a good thing.
Yeah, especially at the end when the car gets a little bit lighter.
I guarantee you Mark Vega did not take a full tank either.
I think well, you wouldn't have to because he wasn't, he didn't use up but a quarter of the tank anyway. Scott Dick there almost continued to turn and went down the normal track, the classic config.
I wouldn't have cleared the black flag for that. Somebody contact behind Scott Dick.
Something's going on with Scott Dick. He's slow.
111 got, I think, checked up there.
What happened to Scott? Because he's suddenly running slow.
He let him go.
Oh, he was just letting them go because they were racing?
I'm not sure.
Because he seems to be... Because he's running slower now all of a sudden.
I mean, I don't know if he ran the turn bad or what's going on. Russ Addy has some wing damage, but he is your new leader. I think Scott just wanted to race with some people. And he looked like
Sudeth is the leader, by the way.
What?
Sudeth is the leader in front of Addy there. The yellow and red. Addy's the orange.
That's correct. Okay. Richard Sudeth in the Bojangles Pro Mazda. Coming to the line for lap 11. He's officially led a lap in this race.
Yeah, if you listen to Scott Dick's car, it does sound different.
Here's an interesting story and definitely a candidate for most improved driver at the end of the season. Sam Cooper Bennett still on the lead lap with Terry Adams.
Apologize for the viewers, I just had to refresh Trading Paints real quick to make sure it was loading properly because some of them didn't look right.
At least it's still competitive. That wing damage isn't hurting Russ as badly. I think he might have to take the turns a little bit more gingerly, but I think that's all the worst of it. These cars can take an absolute beating.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you said a little bit ago. I think Scott Dick isn't wanting to race them. I think he's just wanting to see how they do to try and help them out. Because he's just sitting back there watching them like he's watching them go around the track, trying to mirror what they do. Since it is unofficial and not worth anything.
Hear the tires start to wear a little bit here. Did you hear that one?
I can hear it a little bit. I have it turned down because on these cars at this track, in the practice, I was hearing screeches that sounded like a damn banshee. It was not pretty for the ears, and I knew
Somebody else
viewers would hate it.
Here. Oh, look at Scott Dick going out of line. Thought about it, but comes back in.
I think he's just trying to get out of the draft there, so he doesn't catch up on him too quick.
Russ definitely got affected in turn 1 there with that wing damage. That's going to get second back to Scott.
And we certainly know if he wanted to take the lead, he would.
Scott just radioed in to Russ, telling him he's in trouble now. And Russ just responded, yeah, I was in trouble a long time ago. Look at... Wow, that was
how quickly he
awesome.
goes past. Now Scott's just bragging. So did he just want to hang back a little bit and let them have some fun at the front, or?
I don't know what he was doing, but that was impressive.
Maybe he was just doing some patient exercise.
Yeah, he admitted he let him catch back up. He said it was more fun that way. He is just toying with the field right now. Mark Vega and Jose Olivas. I believe Jose has a background in road racing as well. I think Richard's talking about fuel strategy.
Yeah, they've been out there now 12 laps, so anytime they want to pit, they can and get the thing going again. Yeah. Once Mark pit, everyone knew, okay, now we know for sure we'd be able to make it in, or else he would not be pitting. And I do want to apologize again to viewers. I am not much of a road racer person as far as watching these races, so that might be if I sound a little bit less enthused than if the first race was at Richmond. That would be why. Road racing just doesn't excite me like it does some of these guys out there on the track. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather be on the track for road racing. I just cannot watch it.
I agree. I think Tony has complained numerous times about how long it takes.
For some reason, I feel like the fuel mileage that Terry has it set to is a little short, because I feel like 10% would not be 45 laps here.
Oh,
or
no,
40.
he didn't set it. I think he just set this one for a full fuel run. This was supposed to be like the better test to see if the drivers were ready, and they just chose not to take the test.
Yeah, well, we had a couple.
Yeah.
This is just more of who has more endurance out of our veterans, though.
Russ is just saying that he's just toying with them at this point, and I love it. I don't think Russ has ever led a lap in the bigger series, but here in the Pro Mazda on his turf, Scott runs a lot of Pro Mazda races. This is his car, and I'm very sure this is his track.
So my Twitch app, while I was trying to make sure Twitch was running fine on top of YouTube, has been acting up. Yeah, we are aware of that. I believe that's Tony there in the chat.
What?
Move Theta 9. I believe that's Tony.
I have no idea.
He said something about situational awareness is lacking at times, and that is true. That I can't go back to monitor racing anymore because I would lose my situational awareness so much. But yeah, my Twitch crashed on my phone that I was using to watch the Twitch part of the stream to make sure that one was going smooth. I opened it back up and Jeff Favignano is playing Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. I only know him as the iRacer, and he's sitting here playing a shooter. And for those wondering, we are actually live on both Twitch and YouTube at the same time, trying out some experiments to try and make the broadcast available to more people at one time.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. Did you make an ISL Twitch?
I did.
Oh, neat.
It is Indy Speedway League. So the way Twitch works, if you want to go to a broadcast and you know the username, you can just go to twitch.tv and then /, and then the username. So in this case, Indy Speedway League. Not IndyCar, just Indy. Because I was an idiot and forgot the word car.
Scott giving advice to Richard Sudduth, how he's running here, giving him advice on how to take the apex of the boot. That damage is affecting Russ a little bit, but he's still staying with it.
Well, I think he's just trying to hold out as long as he can, because there's the fast repair, so he knows that when he goes down pit road, it'll be fixed. And who knows, maybe it's actually making the car handle better. I know one time when, I think it was either you or I, we got wing damage in a practice last season during the first season, or one of the recruitment races, and the car felt amazing after that.
I believe I got third at Kansas, and I ran probably half a fuel run without a front wing. That was still one of the oddest things I've ever seen. iRacing glitched, and I lost my front wing, and the car felt the same, but it's still in replay. I don't have it.
I know in an NIS race, I smacked the wall and had like this. Now you can see that huge like bump on your right over the right front tire. I had that, and I mean it looked bad. Oh, there goes Rossetti there, and the car actually turned better. Like the setup they had, iRacing had at the time, was more of a loose car, and when you get damage to that right front, for some reason it forces the car to be tighter, and it actually made that setup near perfect. And I did not want to get it fixed. It's amazing. Sometimes damage can be the best thing in the world.
Johnny Antonucci calling his pit.
Man, this is a long ass race. Oh, right. Y'all can still hear me. My bad. I forgot my mic is permanently queued on OBS. Started talking and forgot I did that. And forgot my push to talk.
Sam just ate it.
Was he the smoke that I just saw in front of the leaders?
He just lost it. At least he held it there. He's struggling with that car. Yeah, he just hit the wall again. That car is pretty done. Dang, I hate that for him. He was doing so well.
If I had to pick the time of this race that I would pit, it'd be at halfway, because you know the car will be able to go to the end already anyway. Go to halfway, that way you know what the car will do for that whole second half of the race. And you know what you'd be expecting at the end.
Right.
Unless, like, for example, unless Mark ran a full run, he's going to get to the end of that run right at the end of the race, and he's not going to be knowing exactly what to expect out of that car. You run a lap or two past, or halfway, or a little bit past halfway, and you'll have an idea of what it's going to do towards the end of the race. You know what it's going to feel like.
That scoreboard actually works.
Oh, that I'm using?
Yeah. No, the actual scoreboard on the track.
Oh yeah, they always work. The pylons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've always worked. Every track. It's one of the neat things I like about iRacing that they didn't. That if any of them are still left from Papyrus and Sierra, whoever was the developer for in 2K3, that's one of the things they weren't able to put into that. That if they're still working for iRacing now, that keyword being still, that they're able to get going now, which is pretty neat. And by the way, we only have 11 drivers still on the track.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Only 6 on the lead lap. That's typically how these road races go. Well, at least they're running pretty good here in the pack.
I want to point out Mark Vega's actually catching the leaders too, because of Scott Dick not really trying too hard. When Mark Vega came out of the pits, he was about 40 to 50 seconds back. He is now just under 19 seconds back from them.
Yeah, Mark's been staying pretty patient here, and all those guys in front of him have to pit.
And he'll get the lead back, and then Scott's going to push it and probably try to catch him at that point.
That's all he's had to do is just stay within striking distance, and he's done a pretty good job of that thus far. Russ Addy, the leader of the race, Richard Sutter behind him. Scott Dick just still he's been sitting there letting them run do their thing, but at the same time, I think he might also be trying to save fuel, planning for them coming.
And there's Sam that they're trying to get around in a little bit. Oh, they already got bound. Never mind. Whoa! 3 wide. 3 wide Watkins gun salute. Anyone?
That was scary.
I think he's just wanting to have fun with him in the bus stop. I think that's where he likes having his fun. Because then he slows up and lets him pass again a little bit later. That, or he noticed that Mark was catching.
Look at all the lap traffic. Scott Dick taking the lead back. Ooh, somebody, I think that was Sam, overshot that turn. He saved it, but that was still pretty dangerous of him.
Are you not on live?
I am live.
Okay. Because I thought, oh, wait. Did Sam have to pit again? Because he was behind these guys.
No, I was watching the Ford camera in the rear and watching behind. Terry
And
Adams
it was
struggling
Terry.
a little bit turn 1, and he's going to get lapped by Scott Dick.
And then there were 5.
Yep.
And Mark has lost a little bit of ground, but I think he's playing a little on the conservative
It's a
side.
draft. They got a 6-car draft here.
5. Sam isn't there anymore.
Okay. He holds so much speed. Can we get just a cockpit view of him? That is just amazing.
How about the roll bar, which is right above the helmet?
Yeah. Just listening to how he runs these turns. He's just got such a tight line there. He knows exactly where he wants to put that car.
And then he does that.
Did he lose it?
No, he's letting him by again.
Oh.
He's toying with him, remember?
Oh.
And Sam almost smacked him coming through that corner.
Oh, that would have been terrible.
Well, I'm pretty sure Sam didn't expect him to be there either. Because you can't see very well coming over that hill.
No, you could not at all. 30 laps to go here. Should see pit stalls anytime.
Yeah, resume at least. We've already had quite a few. So I turned down the tires and they are still really, really loud.
It's weird, they're not for me.
I have the volume up higher than everything else though. It's still, I mean, the tires are still higher than everything else.
Ooh, Sam got a little close to the 5. He had such a really tight line going down that hill. It's really impressive.
Are you watching? Are you on board with Scott still?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have it on him as well.
Jose and Dominic standing still racing side by side in the rear of the field. They've been racing the last couple laps.
I'm using a little speedometer to kind of show what Scott is doing when he's going around the track, and it doesn't have quite the reaction. It's like it's reacting a split second before he actually does what he does.
That's weird.
It's predicting him. I think it's getting the information before the game does.
Yeah, it has to be.
Which is pretty neat,
Yeah.
since we don't actually get that information normally.
Makes you wonder really how iRacing works with that. Ooh, and Richard looped it.
So, in the bus stop, yep, I see the smoke right in there. It looks like the carousel. Yeah, looks like right at the end of the bus stop going into the carousel. Well, at least Russ knows that he's going to be all by himself for a little bit.
One of the most underrated traits of racing, one that I personally struggle with, is patience. And Russ really showed it there, and I gave him back the lead.
Scott's definitely showing it too.
Excellent job by Richard Sutter. I mean, I know he looped it, but he didn't hit anybody. Everybody reacted around him. He did a really excellent job there.
Mark Vega's inching closer. Dun 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 dun. 13 seconds back from the leader now.
He's getting there. Doesn't it especially helps when the leader spins it.
Yeah. And the fastest car isn't going as the fastest car. Scott Dick's fastest lap is a 140.065, 143.065. Nearly 2 seconds faster than the next fastest car, next fastest lap.
Russ still going around. Nobody looks like who's catching him there? Is that Terry?
Might be, because Richard is still 7 seconds back. Sorry.
Yeah, it's Terry catching him. Terry wants to get back on that lead lap.
Alright, so I'm going to leave it on board with Scott Dick on the roll bar camera here, and I am going to... And my computer's freaking out right now, by the way.
Oh, no worries.
I literally just had Scott Dick just flying through the air. It's going to be definitely a fun sight for the broadcast to see there, because everybody was just suddenly 10 feet in the air, like they were not they were still on the track though. But I will be right back. I'm gonna go grab something to eat so I can make it a little bit longer. And now we made it this far. Might as well keep going. And I'm back.
Welcome back.
Completely forgot I had the game audio coming out of my soundbar. And remember how my mic is always hot on OBS? This is a studio microphone, so it's picking it up.
What do you have, like a Blue Yeti or what?
A Razer Siren.
That's right.
Sending you a picture of it in Facebook. Ignore the mess. I like to mess with my cables a lot, and it just makes them worse. I get them neat, but then I like to unplug and move stuff around, so it makes a tangled ass mess. I just need to get a little wall mount for it, or a desk mount, well, preferably a wall mount, because I have a shock mount for it. If I get that, I don't have to worry about it picking up the wheel most likely. As Scott Dick kicked it into high gear to try and get some distance.
Still chilling.
I figured he would have kicked it into high gear to try and make sure he can beat Mark at the end there. Any other pit stops?
Nope, nothing. They just been running. Johnny Antonucci just calls his pit.
I thought he had already pit.
I guess not.
The one thing I like about
Johnny
Tony's...
spun it.
Oh, he did? Damn. I was going to say, the one thing I like about Tony's paint schemes, him and Tyler both do this, is they'll use what iRacing gives them in the templates, but they use them so well. They both know how to put textures in there and make them look unique in such a very good way. Whereas I've just been messing around with just coloring in parts of the car, just kind of like have panels different colors, no special designs.
I really like the design I have on my new sprint car. I'm looking forward to debuting that tonight, hopefully.
Yeah, I realized when I was taking that around a little bit, I noticed I had one of my logos on sideways, but I don't care. I'm going to leave it. It's legible, and that's what matters. Yeah, Scott Dick has kicked it into high gear. He has gained, in the time I've been back, which is a lap and a half, he has gained 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds on Russ.
It's pretty impressive. Who just ate the wall?
I've just been riding on board with Scott Dick right now to let everyone
Terry
get an
just
idea.
ate the wall.
Terry of all people, that's unusual.
He came through the turn. Look, he's fine right here. Did he get touched? No, it's just tire wear. He didn't break it and ate it.
Huh.
4 drivers left in the lead lap. Russ Addy, Scott Dick, Richard Sudduth, and Mark Vega.
Yeah, we know 3 of them still have to pit.
Twenty laps to go, almost. About 21. Mark Vega, it's about time to see if his strategy is going to pan out or not.
Well, judging by about where he's at right now, it depends on how much Scott Dick pushes his car before he pits. And I do want to apologize for people on the stream again. Another apology. If you're seeing sudden frame discrepancies, that is not my stream. I'm not dropping frames. That's actually the game doing that right now. Maybe trying to run a TVO is taking a little bit of a stress on my computer with everything else running as well.
Apparently the stream's stuck on Scott's nose.
Well, I don't know if there's anybody watching. I don't have the viewer count. But I know it'll be in the VOD, so I want to at least remark that I am aware that it is doing that. It has not dropped frames. Well, by the way, Scott Dick's on pit road.
Oh, nice.
So right now he's 22, almost 23 seconds behind Mark Vega. Wonder how long it takes him to catch up.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see here. This is going to decide the race. Mark Vegas got second. Has Russ pit yet?
Mark Vega has the lead, I thought.
Oh, I'm on not live. Oops.
Yeah, Mark Vega's in the lead. Scott Dick is in second as he just now passed Russ Addy as Russ Addy was coming off the pits.
Well, here's where it's going to get interesting.
Yep, Scott's 21 seconds back, and if he pushes it as hard as he can without wrecking it, which we know he can do pretty well, he will definitely be able to catch Mark. Now, passing him is a different story.
Oh, Mark said he's going to have to pit.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't time it right.
How many laps does he say he's short?
I'm not sure. He just said he was going to have to pit. Oh, he pitted earlier because he got dizzy. He didn't pit for fuel.
Oh.
Hey, I got to step away for a minute. Something's went up.
Roger. Well, Scott Dick has closed it into 16.5 seconds. He has about a 3.3 second lead over Russ Addy in third. So when Mark Vega does inevitably make that dive down on the pit road, we will know that Scott Dick will take the lead back. Now, whether he'll just want to stay there or keep toying with his prey, we don't know yet. Scott Dick has 12 seconds right now. 5 seconds over Russ Addy behind him in third, as we are down to 16 to go.
User joined your channel.
And everybody watching, this is Tony who just joined.
Yeah, I needed a little bit of time to calm down just a tick.
Yeah. Race is a little bit longer too than it should have been.
I would have to agree with that.
I don't think Terry realized that when he made it.
Oh, no. Don't put that one on Terry, because I was part of the competition committee meeting when it was discussed, and that's on Alex.
Alex said he wanted it to be 30 minutes. He had it originally scheduled for 30 minutes, and then it was put up as 50 laps.
Ah, okay. Well, it is what it is. But yeah, no, I needed to calm down after what happened on lap 5.
Yeah, I don't think this track was probably the best, at least not the full version of it, for getting an idea when it seems not a lot of our people recruited have the track or just didn't want to show up.
Apart from column A, apart from column B, you take a look at who's leading right now. I'm watching it on the stream because I jumped out of the session because I was just too my head would not have been in it. Let's put it that way. Mark Vega is a regular in the league. He and I are normally in the booth, as you well know. But Mark's driven the bigger cars, so it's not really surprising me that he's that far out in the lead. Let me rephrase that. Am I surprised at the gap? Actually, a little bit, because last I knew, Scott Dick actually drove these cars in Indy Lights. Scott had something to do with an Indy Light team. I'm not sure if it's driver, team owner. I'm not sure which, but I am surprised that Mark's got that much of a lead over Scott Dick.
Well, what was going on is I know that the stream's quiet and I can't do anything about that, but what happened was after Mark had to pit early on because he was having some dizziness or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it was. It gave up the lead to Scott Dick, of course. Well, Scott Dick decided to play with his food a little bit, and he would back off and just kind of sit behind Russ Addy and Richard Sudduth for a while, and then pass them and go flying by them, and then slow up again. Like, he literally would almost come to a complete stop, let them by, and then go again. So he was basically just playing with his food, and that allowed Mark to take the lead and get such an advantage because he was faster than Russ Addy and Richard Sudduth by far.
Well, fair enough. But I do know that in the post-race meeting, I'm going to bring some things up to the competition committee, and there's probably not going to be some happy campers. Good to see Mike Whitaker in the top 5, though. Mike, admittedly not a road racer, but holding his own right now.
Yeah, he's 1 minute and 25 seconds back, so probably by the end of this, because he's right there in front of Scott Dick. No, that's Sam. Is that Sam? I can't tell. My game keeps acting up. Yeah, Sam's in front of Scott Dick right now, so he's still got a ways before he gets to Whitaker. But he'll probably still be a lap down by the end of it if Scott keeps pushing.
Well, regardless of that aspect, it's good to see Mike in the top 5. Mike, awesome guy, one of the nicest guys in the league. I pick on him because he kind of looks like the guy from My Classic Car, but still one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. I definitely have to thank Terry Adams. Without any hesitation, I got to thank Terry Adams and his setup crew for the the setup that they put in this car tonight. It was an awesome setup. Little sketchy on cold tires, but if you knew what to expect, if you went to the practice, you knew what to expect, and you knew that in a lap and a half, almost 2 laps, depending on how hard you pushed and how much you punished the tires on the opening lap, the car started to really stick. It was able to, you could really start to push. And, Terry, cannot thank you enough for all of the setup work you do for this league, all the coaching sessions you do for this league. Thank you so much, Terry. And the same goes for Mike Whitaker too. Mike has done the same thing. Both of them, they'll take it. Neither one of them will hesitate to take a new driver under their wing and go, "Hey, try this." And if something goes sideways, they're the first two that, the entire competition committee looks to those two to be able to talk to the newer drivers that are having trouble and maybe might be slightly over their head behind the wheel or driving above their pay grade, as we like to call it. They're the two that we look to have the, for lack of a better term, come to God moment with the newer drivers, because they'll do it with tact. And I cannot thank both of them enough for everything that they do for the league. Again, thank you for everything you've done for the league. Thank Alex for putting the league up. And definitely thank Bill Roberts for, robertstechjobs.com for sponsoring the league and allowing us to have all these sessions.
Oh yeah, definitely there. And another big thing is, while those two guys are the biggest to help new drivers, when David Wright is calm and collected, he also helps out a lot too. when he's able to keep himself calm. He's like me, he has temper issues. And we both are not the ones you want to get angry, because then we might make some mistakes that we normally wouldn't do.
Well, that kind of goes for the three of us then, because I'm in the same boat. I know that this league is a feeder series, it's a learner series. It's it's to teach a lot of guys that might be coming out of, as we generally refer to them as tin tops, to what's going to happen in an open wheel situation, which is the biggest reason why, rather than attempting to continue on the track, because I know how my temper gets, I left the session to try to calm down.
Yeah, and we were actually talking about earlier, since it's a road course and most of the action is all spread out right now, there's not much going on. We were talking about the other series. We were talking about Tuesday nights. Chris Barkman, he won his 4th race, and entering into that race, if we were going by the old classic point system where there was no chase, but with the 1 point per position still, Tyler Graff would actually be in the points lead despite Chris Parkman having won 4 of our 11 races so far, because of how consistent he's been.
Well, that's one of the things that I've been preaching on Tuesday nights and on Sunday nights is when I first started running around with Tyler on different tracks in different leagues. I actually met Tyler in a different league. The kid scared the hell out of me. Young, definitely enthusiastic, possibly over aggressive, but he's definitely matured into a good points racer, and that's really it speaks volumes for the character of the young man, that he's gone from a hard charger to somebody who will he'll pick his spots now, instead of just always be go 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 go. He knows when to back off.
Well, and one thing I noticed was he learned that setup Tuesday night for Homestead so quick that I tried to keep up with him for a whole run, and basically at the end it was Cody himself, Tyler and myself all staying together, and we were 11th, 12th, and 13th, and we ended up finishing 5th, 6th, and 7th because we pit together. We tried staying together as best as possible, and I was the slowest of the three. I was the weak link in the chain, so all I tried to do was mimic what they did, and I am impressed with how well he was able to keep those tires through the run, because they just felt like they burned up so quick to me. But he kept it going, and he was able to keep his speed all the way through the 24 laps that Fuel Run was.
Well, that's the thing with Homestead Miami, and we'll see it again Sunday night in DW12s. If you run the high line, you won't punish the tires as much. But if you try to run what we jokingly in the league started to refer to as the Llewellyn line, after what David Llewellyn did in season 1 of the IR05 series at Indianapolis, running that very low line, almost a Talladega line, for lack of a better analogy for those listening. If you try to run that, you will just beat the ever-loving bejesus out of the tires, and they will not last. But if you let the car run, don't try to pinch it down coming off the corner. Just let momentum take you where you got to go. The setups that Terry Adams and the entire setup crew are coming up with now really are playing into that hand more and more as we continue through the season.
Yeah, and I don't know how well it showed up on the broadcast, but down on the track when practice started, the groove was the second and third line, the definitive groove that the track starts by default. Once the race started, all those laps that everybody ran in practice and qualifying added up, because if you're looking in 1 and 2, it's black all the way down to the white line now. There's all that grip at the bottom, and you probably noticed it in the broadcast, was people were able to hold that bottom line a lot more early on until that outside line got worn in again. And it was really bad for me because I liked that outside line, and I was just getting beat for like the first 10 laps of the race.
Yeah, you could see it. Not so much in the pre-race, because we didn't really focused a lot on the cars on the track. I mean, yes, you could see that the line was probably because I started the broadcast with only a few minutes left in practice, but you could see it. Like you said, the line was probably about a lane and a half off the inside, and then during the race, you could watch the entire, first, second, and third crews start to rubber in.
Oh, and by the way, back to this race, Scott Dick is playing with his food again.
I noticed that, and I never usually wish ill on anyone, but I hope he not only finishes that plate, but just eat it up, and go ahead and have the bowel movement afterwards.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad that Russ Addy has to deal with it alone, because earlier he had Richard Suddeth up there with him that was enduring it as well.
I don't feel bad for Russ Addy at all.
Was that why he had the wing damage? Was you?
No. The reason I had the side pod damage and 2 broken suspension arms was because of him.
Yeah, well, he had wing damage though. But I'm saying the contact with you.
Because he turned in and not even paying attention that I was there, just blasted the side of my car.
Yeah.
I've been running the same line, and had I not been hit, I would have made the corner. But that's why I don't know if you picked it up in the stream or not, but as soon as I was done spinning through the bus stop grass, situational awareness, which is something that a lot of drivers do need to work on. And it is in the sporting code that the driver attempting to make the pass is responsible for making the pass clean,
Exactly.
which didn't take place in that situation. But it is what it is. It's only going to be maybe a lap or so here. I'm thinking Scott's just going to toy with him until lap 49.
He just passed him.
Well, I'm watching it on the stream,
Yeah.
So I'm about 30 seconds behind you.
Yeah, they just now went to the bus stop and he passed him there, which is where he's always passed him. And then he slows up in the boot and lets him back by if he wants to keep toying with him. But yeah, I did see you say that in the chat. The reason I made the remark about the volume is because Mark had said something pre-race about the volume's really quiet. I don't know why my OBS is so much quieter than yours, but I've noticed that when I broadcast and go back and watch it, it's like half the volume that yours is. Yours is nice and loud. Mine is just insanely quiet.
Well, that's because I've got my mic. For some reason, my mic gain is just stupid, and what I have to do is that my mic's actually about 40%, where everything else is just maxed right out.
Oh, my mic is all the way up, and everything else had to be turned down. I can turn the gain up on my mic, but that creates a lot of background noise that I did not want.
Yeah, no, I've got my mic's tuned to about 40% max volume when I broadcast, and then everything else is just maxed right out. Different computers, different setups. It is what it is. I do actually like the ticker you got on the left side of the screen here. You're gonna have to tell me where you got that.
That's ATVO actually.
Oh, okay.
What I did is I have, you have to do it in the app INI. You go to the graphics area and under Windowed, put it to 1280 by 720, width and height, height and width. It has to be borderless. It has to be centered on the top left and not center of the screen, and 00 as the settings. Like if you look in the app INI, it all makes sense. And then basically do a screen display capture. So it's capturing a whole monitor, but I have it cropped down to only the 720p of the screen, so it's actually able to capture the ATVO overlay. Because if and I'll show you an example.
Fair enough. No, we're good.
You'll just see it. You'll see it up for a second. It'll be in the bottom right. I just moved the camera controls up for a split second there. It's annoying though because I don't have a second monitor right now since I upgraded my video card.
Ah, okay.
So I have very little of my monitor until I can get a display port cable.
Yeah, that's basically all I'm using right now is just a SVGA to USB for a second monitor.
Yeah, if I had, if I wasn't using the VR, I'd have HDMI going to another monitor, but the VR uses the HDMI port.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad the stream's doing better for me tonight because I went back and tried to watch mine on Tuesday night afterwards, and I noticed it just for some reason stopped. YouTube just cut me off at 13 laps into the race. My OBS was still streaming after the race was over, but YouTube didn't capture a single second of it.
Not cool at all.
Yeah, that hurts in the playback because it didn't capture my nice 7th place.
That was an impressive top 10 you had there Tuesday.
Ever since, well, I decided to when I decided to take time off, and I actually meant to take more races off, but Alex convinced me to come back from Michigan. But when I skipped Kentucky after just rage-induced leaving Charlotte, I've actually I think I've only finished outside the top 10 twice. 13th at Watkins Glen, and then that horrible 20th at Pocono because I caused a second caution. If I hadn't caused that second caution by hitting KP, I'm pretty sure I would have had a top 10, if not a top 5, because I was flying around that track.
Well, speaking of rage-induced self-removal from races and Charlotte Motor Speedway, correct me if I'm wrong, but we do go to Charlotte with the Mazdas next Thursday.
Yep, that's where we will be. We'll have next week's the schedule after tonight is so you do it 20 minutes after practice starts, correct? Is when you go live. So
no, 10 minutes before qualifying.
So yeah, 20 minutes after practice starts. So 8:20 on Sunday will be the DW12s at Homestead. 8:50 on Tuesday will be Auto Club in the IRO5s. And then next Thursday, at the same time this one started at 8:50, we'll be at Charlotte.
Hey, Forrest, I don't mean to be a downer, but your stream's getting a little choppy right now.
I know. I saw it doing it. It's the game. It's not the stream.
Fair enough.
I have everything maxed out right now for replay mode, which is what you're seeing.
Fair enough. But yeah, no. Next Thursday, I remember the three recruitment races we did there, and for the first time since I got back behind the wheel of a car, I'm not looking forward to getting back behind the wheel of a car. Charlotte is essentially our Talladega, and these cars stuck up so violently in the draft that you get such amazing runs, and if there's 3 wide in front of you, you need to lift.
You're dead.
No, you need to lift, and if you don't, yes, you're dead, and everybody else on the track that's with you is dead. Which every one of the recruitment races basically ended. I believe there was 2 or less cars still running at the end of the event.
Well, my favorite Charlotte moment by far was I think it was one of your first. Oh, by the way, 4 laps ago. I think it was one of the first ones where you were in the broadcast booth. It was the holiday rookie showcase race at Charlotte. I went for a little bit of a 4-wheel drive on the second dog leg.
I remember that.
And believe it or not, that was not that difficult to do. The wheel stayed straight and didn't go left or right very much at all. I hit the curb, and I just felt the bump of the curb, and I think I was kind of like a foot off the ground for the rest of the way because I didn't feel any of the grass.
Well, the thing is with Charlotte, especially with the Mazdas and the size of them, you can very easily go 3 wide. The problem arises when you go through the dog leg on the front stretch, and
it tightens.
Well, no, it doesn't tighten as much as there is enough room to fit a 4th car in there. However, once you exit the dog leg, there's not enough room for that fourth car anymore.
Unless the other three drivers are really good at what they're doing.
Oh no. There's no room. It goes from 3 lanes. I got from back straightaway in turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's 3 lanes. You get to the front stretch. There's a 4th lane next to the grass, and inevitably somebody's going to get stupid. Somebody's going to stick their nose in there, and they're going to wad the field.
Yeah, kind of like Talladega, how when you go through the tri-oval, that's an extra lane that's really loose.
Yes, but the thing is, if you go down there with one of the big cars at Talladega, it does loosen the car up, where in Charlotte, it doesn't. Unless you dip 2 tires into the grass and open up that diff, like it has happened, because these cars don't have a spool in them at all. It's an open differential in the back. So if you dip 2 tires on the grass, it's whatever tire is in the grass of the drive line is going to start spinning quicker.
And for the viewers, by the way, I just got notice from Alex. The reason he had to step away, those who don't know, he has horses, and apparently they got out of the stable, so we're not sure if he'll be back before the end of the race in a few laps.
And it looks like Scott Dick just took over from Russ Addy again.
And he let Russ back by. I think we're at 2.5 laps to go at this point. He's just kind of having fun. He's waiting to see when he wants to make the move.
I don't know anymore. You know, this is one of the reasons, and it's nothing against Scott. It's really nothing against Scott, but this is one of the reasons why I stopped running with one of the other leagues that I normally run with, or used to run with, on a regular basis, because there are people out there that are so talented that they can do this type of crap, and they're just toying with you the entire race, and then there's 2-3 laps to go, and the next thing you're driving your ass off, and they're just toying with you. They're toying with you, and it's so disheartening when you get down to 2 to go, 1 to go, whenever they decide to actually pull the trigger, and they just pull away from you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, I know earlier in the race, during the first 30 laps, when he was sitting behind Russ and Russ Addy and Richard Sudduth, he was actually giving them pointers on how to get around the track. So he would sit behind them and watch them go around, and then tell them, "Hey, why don't you try this, try this?" So he's at least giving them pointers. He actually has a reason behind why he's doing it here, and because it's also a non-points race. So he's actually trying to help them get better. Even though they're regulars, he's trying to make them better for the official series too. Telling them, "Hey, try this point track, try this point."
Well, then I do have to thank Scott for that. I mean, that's a really good thing to do. But there are guys out there that won't do that, and they'll just toy with you all race long, and then it comes down to 1 or 2 laps to go, and they just make you look stupid. So I do take that back, and I know it sounded like I was slamming Scott, but Scott, thank you for doing the coaching. That's very awesome. Thank you so much.
And that's one of the best things about our league is we do have some people like that, but for the most part, everybody helps everybody, and that's what's great about it. That's one reason that Alex telling me to come back from Michigan, I came back, was because I knew this was a good league overall.
I mean, we've got some guys that tend to get a little...
White flag.
All right. I know we do have some guys that tend to get a little over competitive, but for the most part, it's a decent group of it's a decent core group of people that are in both sections of the Indy Speedway League.
Okay, so now we're on the last lap, and now he's just plain old toying with Russ now. Oh, and Scott Dick spins it in this bus stop. He spun it. He let Russ Addy by and then loses control of the car going through the bus stop. Oh, and Richard Sudduth and Mark Vega are actually battling for third right now, actively. It looks like actually Vega fell back a little bit. Yeah, something happened to Vega. I think he lost control too, because he's suddenly 10 seconds back from Richard Suddeth.
Well, I know Vega's been pushing hard all night. You know, he's been pushing hard since the beginning. Got real lucky on the start, didn't get caught up in that tangle. You know, off he went to the races, so to speak.
And Scott Dick did end up catching back up to Russ Addy despite the spin that he did off of the bus stop, and has passed him, and is going to end up ultimately getting the win now as he's coming around the final turn. So in the final preseason race, wait, no, it just suddenly corrected to say Russ Addy. I'm not sure what's going on now. I'm actually confused.
Hold on, I'm watching the stream to see if I can figure out what happened.
Because they weren't even together.
Well, you're following along with Scott Dick right now.
Yeah, I see that.
Again, folks, bear with me because I'm 30 seconds behind because I'm only watching the stream. And I don't...
It's giving it to Russ Addy by 6.3 seconds.
Yes, it is.
With Scott Dick in second. Richard Suddeth 50 seconds back for third. Mark Vega a whole minute back in fourth. Mike Whitaker 1 lap down in fifth. Jose, I'm still not able to say his last name, in sixth, 1 lap back. Johnny Antonucci. Thank you. Johnny Antonucci in seventh, 1 lap down. Hanover fifth, who is Terry Adams, by the way, for those wondering who that is. That is our setup guy. He took 8th place, 3 laps down, and Mike Baker in 9th, 4 laps down. Sam Cooper Bennett, 12 laps down in 10th.
Well, it's good to see, Hoop Baker and Sam both get top 10s out of this.
Well, the fact that they stuck through. We were hoping to have a little bit of a bigger audience, but looking back, kind of understand because it's a road course and a lot of people that are in the league, in both leagues, I guess I should say, like the ovals a lot more.
You know, as much as this is my home track, you know, Watkins Glen is less than 2 hours from my house. So of every track that we run, this is the absolute closest that I'm ever going to see, being from Syracuse. And I have a love-hate relationship with this place. I've got a ton of laps here, but I would prefer an oval.
Yeah, Martinsville. Alex was watching, by the way, and he did see the looping. Martinsville is my home track, and it's the paperclip, the oldest track on NASCAR circuit still. So it's pretty fun to see NASCAR doing races still at the track that's only a few hours away from me.
Martinsville. Again, me being from Central New York, Martinsville holds another love-hate relationship in my heart because one of the greatest modified drivers of all time actually lost his life in Martinsville back in the early 80s. First non-Cup driver to get inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, Richie Evans. So it's a little bittersweet there. I remember getting there race day, and one of the officials is looking at me going, "You can't be out here." And I just turned my head, and he knew who I was because we're both from the Central New York area. He goes, "Just tell me you're not putting a rose in the safer barrier." And I looked down in there, and I'm not putting a rose in there. And he just laughed and walked away. Because right at the spot where Richie hit, it's kind of a tradition that people from this area, when they go to Martinsville, you drop a rose in one of the holes of the safer barrier, as a tribute to Richie.
That safer barrier is a great thing. We learned at Homestead it's horrible at times because that thing comes poking out at you at random, but it has definitely saved a lot of lives since they started putting that up at the tracks. Well,
it's a technology that came many years too late, And one of the first tracks that really could have used it was, New Hampshire Motor Speedway up in Loudon. Um, you know, you think about the 3-year stretch where we lost Tony Roper, Adam Petty, and then Kenny Irwin. That's a track that really could have used those a lot sooner than they had them.
And it's kind of interesting to see some of the like the technology that NASCAR came out with as one of the racing leagues, to come out with technology to help the drivers survive when they hit the places that don't have the safer barrier. Because you look back and you have all these drivers hitting those walls hard, and now they have safer barrier there because of that. But you got to wonder, what if they were still in the old car and they had that same impact? How many more famous drivers could we have had lost? And would the series cars still be out there racing at that point?
Well, let me pose a different question to you, because Tony George started looking at creating safer barriers back in the mid '90s. Same Tony George whose family has run the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for years and just recently became president of the board of directors again. They had the technology, just the tracks didn't want to have to spend the money to put it in. What would the racing scene look like today if we hadn't lost Adam Petty, if we hadn't lost Kenny Irwin, if we hadn't lost Dale Sr.? What would racing look like today?
Insane. I mean, something that I've seen a lot of people posting on Junior's pages, his Twitter and his Facebook, because of his slower start after coming back from the concussion, is if Dale Sr. was alive, how much different would Junior's career be? I mean, imagine DEI. He wasn't on a contract with DEI because it was his father's company, and you just got to wonder how much better would he have been, because he would have been getting the top of the line cars.
Well, the thing is too, he wasn't under contract with DEI because he was a part owner.
True, that too.
But yeah, no, I completely understand where you're coming from, because you take a look when Senior was still around for about a year afterwards, the DEI employed some of the brightest minds in race car engineering.
Well, the main argument I saw people saying was Dale Sr. was a brilliant mind himself, that he made the drivers better. Michael Waltrip was a good driver, but I think when he was driving under Earnhardt Sr., he was a better driver. He was a great driver at that point. He was already good, but Sr. made him great.
Because Sr. was a motivator.
Exactly.
I honestly think that if the man was still alive today and he wanted to run for president, there would be absolutely no chance for anybody else to get a vote.
Which is scary to think of a NASCAR driver being president.
Why not? We've had a Hollywood actor.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just the thought of it. I mean, just thinking about that. I mean, just seems kind of funny.
All right. So, anyways, Russ Addy coming home with the win. Scott Dick coming home second. Richard Sudduth third. Mark Baker for fourth. Mike Whitaker for fifth. Jose Olivas for sixth. Johnny Antonucci coming home in seventh. Terry Hanover fifth. Adams coming home in eighth. Mike Baker, our very own Hoot Baker, coming home in ninth. And Sam Cooper Bennett, the Irish transplant from England, coming home in 10th. So, like Forrest said, we're going to be coming back to you Sunday night at around 8:20 p.m. for DW12s at Homestead, Miami. And that'll be followed by Tuesday night at California with the IRO5s.
And if you have any opinions on how this setup was run here on Thursday night, I am the one who's running it, not Tony on this one. He's normally out on the track. So please say so that I know what to make adjustments with, because we want to make this as best as possible for you as the viewers.
Remind me one of these days I got to get you all the sponsor overlays for this.
Yeah, if you look in the standings ticker, I was putting them in that, actually.
Ah, fair enough.
It rotates between them every about 45 seconds.
Very cool. You'll have to show me how to do that sometime. But for Forrest Sparks, Alex Green, for all of the RobertsTechJobs.com Indy Speedway League officials, Tony Trapasso, we'll see you Sunday night.